What's up, guys? What's going on? I'm Paul. This is Pauline Theology's Daily Devotional, man. We're going through the book of Exodus. We are in Exodus chapter 8, verse 14 and 15. Exodus 8, 14 and 15, man. What we do here at Trust in Jesus Ministries is we help you to understand and know God intimately. We want you to trust in Him. And the way we do that is by studying His scriptures. Man, reading about Him helps us understand who He is, know more about Him. And as we know more about Him, we can trust Him because He's infinitely trustworthy, man. I think in the last episode, we talked about that trustworthiness that He has, that He displays His faithfulness in carrying out these acts of strikes or plagues or miracles over Egypt and the people of Israel. He said He's going to do it, and He does it, man. So where are we at? What's going on? That's the first question we ask. But before we do, if you haven't read it, stop the tape, check it out, see what it has to say, come back. We're going to answer these questions. But the first question we ask, if you've already read it, is what's going on in the scriptures. And so in the last episode, we talked about how God commanded Moses to tell Aaron to do a certain thing, and he does it. He stretches out his hand and strikes the earth, and then it becomes like gnats or mosquitoes. And when this happens, man, the magicians, the people that did those things last time to copy or try and achieve the same miracles that Yahweh has done, they try this one, and they can't do it. They can't do it, man. They can't produce gnats out of the dust of the earth, and then they can't land on boats either. Because that's what happened, man. It says that all of these gnats and mosquitoes were upon all of the people, biting them. And I'm sure that they are very tired of this. I'm sure the people of Egypt are very tired of all of these strikes in general, because that's really got to play on your mind. Every couple of weeks or something else crazy happens, man. But what is happening now is that these people can't do it. They can't do it. And then they give an explanation to Pharaoh. They're like, dude, this is the finger of God. And that word there, that phrase there is very powerful, because some believe in John writing, which we went through and we talked about a little bit, is that he stoops down, and Jesus does, and he writes something in the sand with his finger. And no one knows what it was written except those who were there or present with him. It wasn't recorded. But the idea that is conveyed there is Jesus proclaiming his deity, because he is writing with his finger. Another instance that this happens also is in Daniel, when this is like a hand of God or finger of God actually is writing something on this wall, man. It says it's written on the wall, man. That's a song by the guitarist, the Texas guitarist, man. I can't think of his name, man. Stevie Ray Vaughan, man. Very superstitious. Well, technically, I guess it's by what's wrong with me? Now I can only think of him, Stevie Wonder. But anyway, the writings on the wall, that's a phrase that comes from Daniel when God's finger writes on the wall for the king of that country. And then here is where it also is actually a little bit before, right before this one is another one where God writes the commandments upon the tablets with his finger. And so this finger of God, this writing sense carries and conveys a heavy weight of the deity of Yahweh. And so these acts here that happen occur by the finger of God. There's no other way for this to have been manifested or achieved yet from the power of God. And now finally, God already knew this, because he says, I'm going to make myself known. My name, Yahweh, will be known through these acts. And it is happening, because now even the magicians of Pharaoh can't do these things and proclaim that this can only be done by God. Only be done by God. But what does Pharaoh do? What is his reaction to this? His reaction is a harder heart, a more a more stern heart. His mind is set more firmly to hold the people. It says he didn't listen to the thing that God had called him to do, what Yahweh has said, which is to let his people go. He didn't listen to that, man. His heart or his will was made more firm, stronger, resolute. Man, there's only, and I talk about this a lot if you watch any of these videos, is that when God shines his rays, it's either on two things: one, wax, where it melts, or clay, where it hardens. And at this point in time, Pharaoh's disposition towards Yahweh is of clay. And as these things occur, as he sees the power and the wonder of God, he is hardened, made more stern or resolute in his defiance against God. What's this say about you? When God shows his wonder, how do you react? That's the question, man. But first we ask the next question, which is, what does this say about God? What does this say about Yahweh? He's infinitely powerful. I think the last episode we talked a little bit about this too, is that these strikes or acts that God is displaying over Egypt demonstrate his power. And here it is in full display, because now they are recognizing that this is not something that they can manipulate on their own. Only God can do this. Only by the power of God can this happen. God's power is being displayed. Where is God's power being displayed in your life? The next thing is that the question we ask is how does this display, or how does this show mankind? What characteristics can be seen here? Is, man, we see and we know when God is showing out. We know it, dude. These people know it. They see it. They understand it. And Paul talks about this in Romans. He says that God's attributes are displayed in how he has created the world. So we know this naturally. We already see it. We recognize it. All human beings do. The question is, how do we respond? I asked this earlier. How do you respond? So how do we apply these truths to our lives? When we know that God is infinitely powerful, it's on display. And we see it because we know it because we see it. How do we respond? How are you going to respond to God's display of his power in the things around us and in our lives? And I appreciate you guys for listening, and I will see you in the next